Florence Nightingale was born on May 12, 1820, in the city of Florence, Italy, from which she received her name. She was born into a wealthy British family. Her parents, William Edward Nightingale and Frances Nightingale, were respected members of society and lived a comfortable life filled with luxury, travel, and education. Unlike many girls of her time, Florence received an excellent education from her father, who taught her mathematics, history, philosophy, literature, and several languages. As a young girl, Florence was quiet, intelligent, and observant. She loved reading books and studying statistics and numbers. While many wealthy young women were expected to spend their time learning music, dancing, and preparing for marriage, Florence desired something different. She often visited poor villages near her family's estates and noticed the suffering of sick people who had little medical care. These experiences deeply touched her heart. At the age of 16, Florence believed she had received a divine calling from God. She felt that God wanted her to dedicate her life to serving humanity, especially the sick and suffering. This idea was shocking to her family because nursing was not respected in those days. Hospitals were dirty, dangerous places, and nurses were often viewed as uneducated women from poor backgrounds. Her parents strongly opposed her decision. They wanted her to marry a wealthy man and live the life expected of an upper-class woman. Florence refused many marriage proposals because she believed her mission was greater than personal comfort. She struggled emotionally during this period because she loved her family, but could not ignore the calling in her heart. Despite opposition, Florence remained determined. She continued studying medicine, hospital reports, and public health in secret. She visited hospitals and carefully observed how patients were treated. Her strong will and deep compassion slowly prepared her for the great mission. Florence Nightingale's desire to become a nurse continued growing stronger. In the 1840s, nursing was considered unsuitable for respectable women. Hospitals were overcrowded and filthy, with poor sanitation and little organization. Many people died not only from disease, but also from infections caused by dirty conditions. Florence believed things could change. Although her family continued resisting her dream, Florence refused to surrender. She spent years educating herself by reading medical books and studying reports about hospitals across Europe. She also visited institutions where sick people were cared for, hoping to learn better methods of treatment and cleanliness. Finally, in 1850, Florence traveled to Germany to receive formal nursing training at the Institution of Protestant Deaconesses in Kaiserswerth. There she learned practical nursing skills, patient care, hygiene, and hospital management. She worked tirelessly and impressed many people with her discipline and intelligence. The experience transformed her understanding of health care. When she returned to England, Florence accepted a position as superintendent of a women's hospital in London. She immediately introduced better sanitation, improved patient nutrition, and stricter organization among staff. Her reforms quickly improved the condition of the hospital and reduced suffering among patients. Florence became known for her calm leadership and attention to detail. She believed that clean air, fresh water, proper sewage systems, cleanliness, and healthy food were essential for healing. These ideas may seem normal today, but during her time they were revolutionary. As her reputation grew, Florence continued preparing herself for greater responsibilities. Unknown to her, a terrible war was about to break out that would place her name into history forever. Her years of struggle, sacrifice, and training had prepared her for the moment when thousands of wounded soldiers would desperately need her courage and compassion. War erupted between Russia and an alliance that included Britain, France, and the Ottoman Empire. This conflict became known as the Crimean War. British newspapers began reporting horrifying conditions inside military hospitals. Wounded soldiers were dying from infections, hunger, overcrowding, and poor sanitation, rather than from battlefield injuries alone. The reports shocked the British public. Hospitals lacked clean water, medical supplies, beds, and proper ventilation. Rats and insects filled the buildings. Sewage contaminated the environment, and disease spread rapidly among injured soldiers. Thousands died unnecessarily. Sidney Herbert, the British Secretary of War and a friend of Florence Nightingale, knew about her remarkable abilities. In 1854, he asked Florence to lead a team of nurses to the military hospital at Scutari, located in present-day Turkey. Florence accepted immediately. She gathered 38 nurses and traveled across dangerous conditions to reach the hospital. What she found there was worse than she had imagined. Soldiers lay on filthy floors covered with blood and waste. Many had no blankets, medicine, or food. The smell of disease and death filled the corridors. Florence quickly organized her nurses and began transforming the hospital. She cleaned wards, improved hygiene, arranged better food preparation, and demanded proper sanitation. She worked day and night caring for wounded soldiers. At night, she walked through dark corridors carrying a small lamp while checking on patients. The soldiers admired her compassion and began calling her the Lady with the Lamp. Her dedication gave hope to dying men far from home. Many soldiers said her presence alone comforted them during terrible pain and loneliness. Florence not only treated injuries, but also restored dignity and humanity to those who suffered. This was only the beginning of her greatest work. The reforms she introduced during the Crimean War would soon revolutionize nursing and hospital care across the entire world.